Welcome to The Short Score, your weekly update of roping news from around the industry, where you can find the latest on the sport from the pro rodeo ranks to the jackpot world. I'm Taylor Vollen, and I'm your host. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Short Score. It's Taylor Vollen, your host. It's a Saturday, which of course means it's time for a bonus roping.com tips episode, and for the very last one of October, I'm bringing you an episode on how you can prepare to win. All of us that rope know that there is a lot that goes into winning. From horsemanship, being mentally and physically prepared, there's a lot, and it can be overwhelming to know where to start. In this episode, Charlie Crawford discusses the most important aspects of team roping and how you can actually prepare yourself to win, both mentally and physically. This audio clip comes from one of his Smarty Young Pro clinics that he did, and you can actually go and watch this at roping.com, of course. He starts off with the importance of practicing for less than ideal shots, and he divvies into sports psychology and how your brain can actually keep you from winning in team roping.
It's a real good one. One of the things that I love the most, I was at a church clinic last week for 3 days with 78 kids. It's a lot. Me and Corey Kuntz, that was it. And one of the things that I could pick out from every kid is to where you could tell when one was hungry. You can tell when one wanted it. You can tell when one had that teachable spirit. And like I can see it in all y'all's eyes. There was hard because you're getting everybody in. Well, like you guys, I can tell like you guys are wanting to go somewhere. And I love seeing that. It does. I remember what it was like when I was your guys' age, man. And I was hungry, and I could see it in all y'all's eyes. So that's cool. What's the most important thing about team roping in order to win? What's the most important thing about team roping in order to win? All good stuff. I don't care how good your horse is. I don't care if you got Paul Eves healing for you. I don't care if this sucker runs up there and just melts them old steers down and freaking to where you can spread the cheese on the cracker and just faces right out of his rear. If you don't catch, you ain't winning crap. That makes sense? That's the most important thing about team roping. They don't pay you unless you catch. You've got to catch, okay? So what I'm gonna show you guys is how to rope this dummy, how I like to rope the dummy, and gain all this knowledge. So it's about the right hand, okay? First part is all about the right hand, all right? Getting that loop to where you understand the loop, knowing how it works, okay? If you can get to position 80% of the time, do you guys practice for the 20? Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? If you can get to position 80% of the time, how many times do you practice when you're not in position? How many times do you practice right there where the head's tilted? Or you're a little far back, you're a little too close? Do you practice for the storm? That's a huge part to when it comes down to catching. Okay, so we're gonna do all that. We're gonna work on all that. Second part, horsemanship. Okay, it's huge, it's a big part of it. Can anyone tell me where position is? How many people here has been harped on from their parents and everyone else to get in position? Me, I remember it to a T. Get in position, get in position, get in position, right? Where is it? That's very, very generic. That makes sense? So that's a feel. You're gonna feel, if you're gonna feel position out, okay, that's a tough one. Because until you know where it's at, you're always gonna be a little uncomfortable. You're always gonna be a little unconfident. If you're high call and all you gotta do is catch, how many times have you heard this before, right? If you're high call and all you gotta do is catch, what do most people do? Panic. Okay? So that's how huge horsemanship is. That's how huge position is. Knowing where that position is. Position is all about your left hand and your feet. That's being able to get your horse in that spot to where you know you can catch. But you've got to know where it's at. If you don't know where it's at, how's your horse supposed to know where it's at? Does that make sense? Clear signals, getting a good start. You want to know what sets up the run? Anyone know what sets up the run? What's that? Dang right, atta girl. That sets the run up, good or bad. That's clear cues, how good your horse scores, how clear your hand is, your signal right there when you see your start where you can hit it right there, where you can get that steer before he gets away in the money spot. That's the start, that's horsemanship. Clear cues, drawing the horse down, turning the horse off, finishing, all those things. That's left hand and feet, okay? So what you want to do is you want to grow them together. all right? You rope with your right, you win with your left, okay? The left hand is in football, the left hand's the lineman. They're the unsung heroes, okay? The right hand gets to take all the credit. But if your left hand does its job in feet, it lets this right hand show off. Gives you so many easier shots, okay? And then what the last one, the third, is what ties them together. That's the mental game. That's the mentality, okay? Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're both usually right, okay? So knowing the difference between the conscious and the subconscious. The subconscious is what you've done so many times you can do it without thinking about it. Like tying your shoelaces, okay? Like checking Facebook, Snapchat. You knew all those things without thinking about it. You don't have to look up a set of directions to go and look up Snapchat, right? You've done it so many times, you just know how to do it. Okay, that's your subconscious. Like being able to walk up to that dummy. You can walk up there. You don't have to think about what foot to throw. You don't have to think about starting your loop. You've done it so many times. That's in your subconscious, muscle memory. All the kind of the same terms. Now your conscience, that's the tricky one. Okay, that's what's rattling around in your head, nonstop. Okay, and you can either have a critical subconscious or conscience, or you can have a productive conscience. Okay, knowing the difference between the two. Just like Big Al talks about the difference between God and the devil. His voice is usually the quietest one. The devil's usually the loudest. Okay, devil's usually critical. Okay, God's not. So when you have a productive mindset, to where you tell yourself what you're going to do, there's a difference between telling yourself what you're going to do and what not to do. Does that make sense? Okay, picture in your mind, say, don't split the horns. What do you see? Right, that makes sense. When you tell yourself, don't screw up, don't split the horns, don't miss, don't do all these things, that's why your subconscious starts tightening up. They call it tighten up, choking. What are all the terms right there when someone lays an egg right there in the short round? You name it. What is it? Choked. Screwed up. Yeah, you name it. That's usually what happens. Because most ropings are 4 headers, right? So we've all seen it. First 3 steers, that team's lights out, right? Lights out. And then the short round, all they got to do is catch. They look like 2 completely different ropers, right? That's not ability. Their ability is what got them high call. Okay? Their mind is what got in their way. That's mentality. Because they could have just went and did the same thing over and over and won the whole roping. But then when they got to thinking about it, if your thinking ain't in the correct way, it can get in your way. If it's critical, that's a tough one. If it's productive, if you know what you do and why you do it, you want to know what the name of that is? It's called conviction. When you have conviction, when you know what you do and why you do it, when you're in high call, you tell yourself what you're going to do. And you go do it. You know the start, that's why you're high call. Okay? Start going over process elimination. You already know the start. If you got 10 or 11 seconds, you've been 7 or 6 all day, go to that spot where you know you can catch from, turn the steer off, keep the steer's head where you know it's going to be the most healable time and the most easiest way for your partner to heal one. Make sure when he goes to the horn, you get to the end of it and it's over with. Simple, huh? That's how it needs to be in your mind. Okay, those are things you need to practice so you have conviction, you have confidence when those things happen. You're not telling yourself what not to do. Because when you tell yourself what not to do, what it does, it tightens up your muscles, it shortens up your breath, almost feels like you're suffocating, and your mind is going every wrong direction. Remember, you have control of your mind. You have control of your breathing. If you can stay mindful for it, there's a lot to the mental game. But it's key. It's what ties the other two together, the horsemanship and the catching. So it's a big part of it.
Don't forget to head on over to ropin.com today and sign up. You can use the code THESCORE15 for 15% off. With thousands of instructional videos and personal guidance for ropers of all levels, ropin.com offers ropers an elite inner circle to learn from some of the winningest team roping legends in the industry like Jake Barnes, Matt Sherwood, and 26-time world champion Trevor Brazile. Join now for only $29.95 a month and take advantage of step-by-step tutorials, run critiques, private member-only Facebook groups, live stream event coverage, and so many other benefits available exclusively to ropin.com members.